Well, greetings subscribers, welcome back to the channel, welcome back to the vlog. Yeah, I know, right? Well, looks like I'm gonna have another video for the mini repair series on the XTerra because looks like the alternator died. Get a call from Pump Crazy Pam, said that the battery light and the brake light were on the way to work, and then loss of power until it pretty much shut off, and so she just pulled it over here on the side of the road. And as for right now, yeah, I've got lights but got nothing, so I have a feeling maybe she had the radio on, and that probably just killed the battery completely. Well, anyway, probably gonna get Royalty Towing to take this back to the house. Then I'll stop by the dealership, pick up a new alternator, and then do the repair tomorrow, and I'll vlog it. So anyway, as always, stay tuned. All right, greetings subscribers, I'm back, yep, with a new alternator in hand. And it's been what, like a week and a half now, because first of all, you can't find these anywhere. Well, I mean, you can and you can't, so trying to find a decent one that's not a remanufactured OEM, pretty tough. I was thinking about just taking the truck to Nissan because I really didn't have the time, and even them, they said they were like 2 weeks out, so the car would have just sat. But I guess I could have gotten an oil change and some other stuff, but I don't know. I just I have a problem, you know. I think they quoted new alternator and the labor or something like that a lot higher than what anybody else had said online. My dealership wanted, what was it, 1600 or something like that, and I was like, no, not gonna happen. So anyway, I mean, I've had to jockey cars around, and this weekend was all car shows and everything else, so I am exhausted. I really don't feel like doing this, but yeah, I'm tired of the wife driving the Corvette and parking it on the grass. So yeah, anyway, well, so I've got my my hip hop pants on, got my old Evolution and snow bike shirt, so it's time to get to work. And yeah, I had to move this thing from, you know, over there where it was. I was thinking, oh yeah, you already saw it, but that's on my other vlog. So I had to move it over from there over to here. I would have preferred it facing the other direction, but moving it by myself, yeah, that just wasn't going to happen. So right now I've got the battery tender. Yeah, got the battery tender on there. So I mean, it's doing its thing, getting a little bit of juice. So if I could charge this, you know, if it wasn't across the street, I could have charged this up and at least gotten enough to start it and turn it around. Because yeah, as it is now, I'm going to not remove all of this. I'm just going to take the air tube, basically. I'm going to disconnect that. I'm going to get down to loosen the belt, which I need that out of the way so I have the leverage. And then I'm going to go at this from the wheel side. So I'll pull the passenger wheel off, take the liner out, which you know how many times I've done that on this truck. So and then hopefully it's technically just the two bolts, because the other one's on a bracket. So if you take the two out, I think that bracket stays on there, something like that, you know, as I mess with it. But otherwise, yeah, you kind of saw what happened when it died on the side of the freeway. So we'll just get at this, and I'll try to actually vlog as much as I can about how easy or difficult, I should say, how difficult or difficult it is getting that thing out of there. But yeah, I'd like this thing to be just kind of solid green. Then I'll know I probably at least have enough to start it up and turn it around, because I could jump start it, but with no juice in the battery at all, I mean, the minute I disconnect the jumper cables, it's just gonna die. The alternator's like completely shot. So anyway, as always, stay tuned. What you doing? All right, well, I was gonna say, first things first, you gotta pet the neighbor's cat. Okay. Well, anyway, first things first. I know they always say if you're going to work on a car, you know, disconnect the battery. But anyway, I'm doing this on purpose because what I want to do is clean up the terminals, keep the battery tender on, and also make sure, you know, the positive is disconnected. That way I can get the battery charged up over the next like 2 hours, because that's probably what this is going to take. And again, man, I was looking at like all of the crap. What was I using? I think I was just using this. So that's entirely up to you. But I mean, I already tapped most of this junk out. So again, I'll get this all cleaned up ahead of time and get those all scrubbed real good, because I tested the battery originally and it was good, which was deceiving as well, because the battery was at 60%. Then, you know, the lights were flashing, the brake light and the battery light was flashing, then it went off. Then I checked the battery and it was at 100%. So I figured, you know, that was going to buy me another couple days for the new alternator to come in. And yeah, how did that work out for me? Not so good. Anyway, all right, that's first, and then I'll be back once I have this little air tube taken off. All right, so second thing second, we're gonna get these loosened up. Could just do this outside one by the air intake, or you could take that one off, but you don't usually need to. And then these two over here by the throttle body. And then, oh, and also I ended up resetting this because, yeah, I noticed, like I said on the video, it was flashing between yellow and green, and that usually means like it's not doing anything. So right now I cleaned up the terminals a little bit and, you know, just wrapped the stuff, moved it out of the way. So now it's solid. And, you know, if you have an actual battery tender plus like this, I mean, it tells you, it says, you know, flashing is nothing, solid is, at least it's charging, and I hope to at least get that to be flashing green, and that's what I was thinking about. But anyway, stop chatting, get this thing removed, get the belt off, and then I'll probably start filming again from the fender well. Oh yeah, by the way, I almost forgot, you do have to do these two bolts here, and then this hose attaches, but you can just kind of flop this back, get it out of the way. So sorry about that. I don't know, it seems like it's been a while since I've had this off. How quickly you forget on purpose to just try to purge it from your memory. Now, and I've also had a few people comment about I think 07, 08 XTerras, not the Pro X, I'm not sure, but yeah, this was Nissan by design. They got rid of the engine cover because it was like cooking the coils and just overheating everything. So that was their solution. So that's why you have these little tabs blank, and you don't have the rest of that engine cover right here. So didn't come with it, and that's the way it came from the factory. So yeah, I also remember now that it was easier undoing the air filter box, because you can just kind of move this out of the way now. You don't need to disconnect the MAF sensor or anything, and you don't need to disconnect that extra little hose, a little breather hose. That's fine too. What else? Oh yeah, just move it out of the way. Throttle body, you know, I usually clean that while I have it off. So now Don't need to take the fan and the shroud out or the clutch or anything. It's just really not needed, because all you need is this. You just need access right there. That's the pulley, or the belt tensioner, and you just need to get like a breaker bar on there, get it with enough leverage just to push that down, and so you're pushing the lever this way, and that'll loosen the belt up enough that you can get it off of down there. You can kind of see the alternator, and then yeah, we'll get the tire off and the fender liner off and see what we got from there, because yeah, I don't want to go this route, because I really, the people that have done that, I don't see where it saves you a lot of time, because it's really not freeing up much, not just with the fan shroud. So once you get the bolts out, you can just drop, looks like you can drop the alternator off to the side, and then from there, yeah, you can just pull it out through the fender. And I have those heat shields and stuff off. If you remember from one of the other videos, I went that route, so I've got the headers all wrapped, so I don't have that big heat shield in the way either. So, well, we'll see. It'll either work or it won't, right? If it doesn't, then yeah, I'll pull this off and go that direction, but shouldn't have any problems. All right, so I'm not going to be able to pull the belt off and hold the camera and, you know, release the tension on this, but basically this is what you want to do. Breaker bar, or I've got a torque wrench here on that pulley arm, and if you go that way, you can see what it's doing. It's loosening the belt up, so now I can get it off of just pull it off of the alternator down there on the bottom and let it back up, and should be fine. I mean, you don't need to pull the whole belt off of everywhere. Just get it off of that pulley and go from there. So, all right, easy breezy. You can see belt is off, and if you just leave it like that, like I said, it kind of is right in line where it needs to be, and it's very easy to just you know, loosen that idler back up, get the belt back on when you're done. So take it from there. All right, got the wheel off. I was just starting to work on the inside liner, but these new replacement liners that I didn't really care for initially, you remember back when I did the wrap? Well, I don't even really need to take it out, because I pretty much have like full access with it in place. But it's only one screw, 2, 3, 4. I don't have the plugs up here because this thing's like, I mean, it's in pretty solid. Missing that one, and then a couple here. Because if you remember before, the other ones were so brittle. When I tried to do the melt mod right here for the tires, and this little spot here where it's rubbing, you know, the thing just disintegrated. So yeah, I'll probably pull the screws and pull it out anyway, because if you see, I think I know why the alternator died. So as you can see, I mean, that's how easy it is to get the belt off. And you see this little all this oil right here. I think that's from the power steering, and it looks like it might be dripping down onto the alternator. So if that is dripping, getting into the alternator, it's probably why it went out. Also, like 283,000 miles, that might be the other reason too. But and then speaking of oil, yeah, let me get down here on the ground. Yeah, check that out. Now, I don't know why I've got so much residue here. I mean, that could just be from changing the oil, but I usually try to keep that really clean. But I've got what looks like power steering residue like here. So again, that could be dripping down, getting onto the alternator. And then, yeah, the cats are new. Put those on last time. You got a video on that. And then, yeah, look at all of that. Not good. Yeah, it looks like it's spraying back there too. So I'm gonna have to pull that. Check that rear seal. Yeah, or if anybody else has had to replace that, I'm sure. I mean, I knew it was dripping a few drops in the driveway every now and then, so I knew it was probably getting bad. All right, here, let me flip the camera around, put the extension on it. Yeah, that's what we got. All right, it's like another video for the mini repair series, right? Oh, look at that. Huh. Yeah, so that wrap, oh man, I don't know if you can see that. That wrap's supposed to be good to like 10,000, 12,000 degrees or something like that. Look at the end of it. Remember before when I said the AC unit went out and the wife said, you know, she thought she smelled like fire. And I said, well, was it fire or was it like baked chocolate chip cookies? Because that's what the stuff, when that stuff gets wet, first off, when it gets wet and then it gets hot, that's what it smells like. It smells like you're baking cookies. But yeah, that's pretty man, that really charred that right there. So all right, let's get back to the stupid alternator. See, that was easy. And yeah, I didn't remember not having the other clips on there, but you know, one time the wife went to Arizona, you know, this little sensor was bad, so I think her cousin or somebody was playing around, so yeah, they didn't put that cap back on. And then I think they did that, well, I don't know if they did that from up above, because that's when they broke that heater core hose where it enters the dash. So I mean, because I see like junk splattered everywhere. Other than that, everything else looks kind of okay. Some of the bushings and stuff don't look too bad. Bushings up here, arms, this one's starting to not look so good. Those seem to be okay. Those seem to be okay. These are still in good shape. Those seem to be all right. Okay, well, all in all, not too bad. I mean, those are still halfway good. Yeah, there's my my cookie recipe. That still looks like it's holding out pretty good. I got those stainless steel zip ties around there, so it's not going anywhere. Much better than that stupid heat shield. That was ridiculous. And what else? Yeah, rotors still look great. Brake pads, fine. Yeah, and believe it or not, the original factory brake pads went to 150 or 175,000 miles, and they actually still had a little bit of meat on them too. I mean, so I actually went to Nissan, got the same brand because they work great, low dust, and 150,000 miles on them. So anyway, all right, back to the alternator. So here you can see plenty of access. I mean, once, if that thing can drop out of the way, maybe people were complaining about this part of the fan shroud. That's about the only thing I can think of. But you got plenty. If you move this hose out of the way, you've got plenty of room right here to get that out. But this is what I was talking about. Look at the oil. That's power steering, because that's power steering pump. And look at the residue. Look at the residue that's on there. I mean, it's not bad, but actually, this thing's spinning fine. I mean, it sounds, I don't think you can pick up the actual rotation of it, but I don't hear anything bad. I'm gonna be pissed if it's just yeah, like oil and corrosion on the wire in the back, but we'll see. All right, well, I'm gonna do a little troubleshooting first before I start pulling it off, and kind of take it from there. And I can see you can see on that the tensioner arm too, you can see a little bit of splatters, and you can see it up here too. Yeah, that's pretty oily. So I mean, that could be coming down, hitting the belt, flying up onto there. All right, well, you know, it's always something. All right, so far nothing is too complicated. You can just move this hose out of the way. That goes down to the oil filter. And then the little clip, which if you compare here, you really, like I said, you really only have 3 bolts, but 2 of them are actually the only thing that's holding the alternator on. The third one, which I'll show you, is actually part of the support bracket, so you can leave that on. So you have the clip, which you can just press and pull out, which that wasn't bad at all. That was right here. So there's the clip. And then the only other thing that's a little bit of a pain is you've got the wire that goes back up to the battery, and that is a 12 millimeter, and I put that on a swivel, small swivel with a small extension, and I actually had to get to it, which again, this is great that I don't have those heat shields. I had to get to it from up here, which I'll show you. Hopefully you can see where that bolt is. It's right there. So with this up here, it was fine. I mean, that was not, you can see right where it's at. Not too difficult to get to, and yeah, I mean, it's loose already. Then for actual holding the alternator in place, you've got the one bolt back here, which hopefully you can see, and then this bottom one, which, you know, people have said is 3, but it's actually just 2. Now, let me see if I can get something to point with. Actually, let me use, I use this right here. You actually have one connected, you have this bolt up here, and then you have one down here, and then this bolt here is actually part of that bracket. So this thing is not screwing into anything. It's like not part of the frame or anything holding it in place. It's just part of that bracket. So you got like this banana shaped bracket that's really only just the 2 bolts. So if you look at it here, you've got, well, from the front, just trying to keep it the way it's positioned in the car. So you have this one, which is that bolt that goes all the way through to the other side, and that's just hanging on like a piece of little frame rail, and then this back part is threaded. That's when they say it's careful, you know, be careful not to strip that out. Then the other one bolts here, but it's actually bracket that comes across like that. So if you undo this one, you undo that one, and you leave that bracket connected here, you can pull that off and then transfer it over to the new one. And then the only other thing that I see that is a little different is on mine, this has got a threaded piece, you can see, to hold this little cable loom, and on here it looks like it's just like a stainless, it's got a, I don't know if you can see it, it's got a stainless tie wrap around it, and then it's just got like a compression little plug that's stuck in, and that's not, that doesn't look like it's threaded, at least not what I can see from over on this side. Let me try to spin some stuff around. So on this side, can't really see what you guys are seeing, but on that side it's just like a zip tie. So I'm gonna snip that and then I will zip tie it back into place because I was yeah, I was kind of pulling on it and it's not coming out. Let me see if I can show you where I'm talking about. Yeah, it's tough trying to see. Let me see if I can find my, there's my finger. Okay, so right here, and that's just zip tie holding this loom in place. So like I said, I'm gonna snip this, and then I'll just put a new zip tie, stainless zip tie, just so that the heat doesn't, you know, break it, crumble it, and then it, you know, falls out of place and starts hitting something. But I'm more concerned about the residue on the alternator, because again, I doubt you can tell, but this thing seems like it's spinning fine. I don't hear anything, and there's no resistance. So I mean, that part of it seems fine. So I'm just worried that maybe the internals got jacked up, but we'll swap it out anyway and kind of take it from there. All right, so this was a little bit of a pain. You know, everyone said you got to make sure to be very careful with this top bolt. It is 14 millimeter, and the bottom one on that little banana bracket is a 12 millimeter, and you probably want to make sure you use a you know, a star hex like this instead of a flat one. These ones tend to strip bolts out a lot easier. So I put this on my little impact wrench, and I was able to get it in there and also clear the fan shroud. So it actually broke loose. So this thing is loosening up now, and so that's good. So no problem there. Couldn't find my 14 millimeter deep socket, because something like that would have been much better instead of that extension. It would have been a little shorter, would have been perfect. But so there you go. Now I'll be able to swap that out, get that 12 millimeter loose, and then I'll get the camera back on when I'm pulling this out, because it should just come out this way right here, and I should be able to get the other one back in. Still need to snip those wires, that little zip tie. Still need to do that. Yeah, so I used the deep socket on this 12 millimeter one, and it wasn't even that tight. So yeah, that one's loosening up easy. So yeah, so now that should come off with that bracket still attached to the alternator. I'll transfer that over to the new alternator and should go right back in. Again, 2 bolts. All right, not sure how I'm going to be able to hold the camera and show you, but yeah, those 2 screws out, wiggle the alternator a little bit, and yeah, it just dropped down. Not sure what all the junk is. Yeah, so this hose is out of the way, and like I said, I might need to set the camera down. Oh, I gotta finish I never finished unscrewing that yeah, that connector. So yeah, good thing. I guess it would have probably, I don't know, fallen on the ground. But yeah, pretty easy, and you got plenty of access. Like I said, right here, thing will just come right out. So again, let me see if I can set the camera up and I'll show you. Otherwise I'll probably have it like right here in my hand next. So there you go. All right, I will admit that was not easy to maneuver, especially with this bracket still on. So I would say if you remove just this screw, the bracket's going to be in the way. It's going to be difficult to get this out. Otherwise, if you look at its orientation, I basically had to turn it upside down, point the pulley, you know, kind of forward the way it was, and lift it up this way. And I'm going to put the new one back in exactly the same way, because you can just clear this oil filter hose and get it out. So I mean, it is possible. I could see now why they say to move the shroud. It'll give you a little more wiggle room, but you still have like your air conditioning hose and stuff like that in the way. So and also the power steering pump and the belt. So it's, I mean, yeah, it'd be nice if you could just bring it out through the front, but you can't. So anyway, again, just note the orientation of how this is. So this is that top bracket with the bolt, and yeah, and just for reference, this is the top bolt. So this goes through here and screws into the back. That's up top right underneath the power steering pump, and then the bottom little this bracket I thought was going to be a small little screw, but it's actually that size, and it goes through as well. But that's just your 2 screws is the only thing that's holding that on there, and that one's not even really, I don't know, I guess maybe a little bit adjustable, but not really. So again, yeah, plug down, you know, these were on the other side. That's the bolt that the battery connects to. That's the positive to recharge the battery. That's the plug that goes back into the harness. And then there's that little zip tie that I snipped. And like I said, that's just a plug, but on the new one, it's threaded. So, you know, it is what it is. Again, you can just throw a zip tie on there. That was actually, I thought this was stainless steel or something, but it's just plastic. So, yeah, next update is with the new one in place. Oh, and I also noticed this thing was making like a lot of noise, and I noticed the difference that the bolts, the nuts on the end, are all missing. So if you look at the new one, see how this one's got those nuts, and then these ones don't, but those two, yeah, they're missing on here. So that thing was rattling around quite a bit when I was like messing with it, trying to get the bolts undone. So anywho, well, there you go. So 100% possible to get it out from the passenger side fender well. Just takes a little finagling. Oh, quick little update. Yeah, I took this that little bracket off, and I think I'm actually going to feed this back in without it on there. That at least saves me like this much more room, and should be a little easier. Not that big of a deal to just hang that off of this with this bolt, and again, get the other thing into position, get it all tightened down. Yeah, I think it'll just be a little bit easier, so I'll let you know. Well, actually, that was kind of funny. Without that bracket on, I moved this hose out of the way. I had it sitting there. I twisted it forward, and it basically just kind of fell right into place. So, and just so you know, I'm getting at this with this hand here, holding the front of it, and then I'm actually putting my other hand up here. And again, this might be easier for me because I don't have those heat shields. So I've got this wrap on there, but that's getting my other hand basically right here, and so I can hold on to both sides, you know, when I don't have the camera, but I can hold on to both sides of it. And I mean, that's a little bit of a issue, is just the weight and trying to get it in position. So yeah, just be able to throw that back up here on this hanger, and then just get that bracket put back in, and should be done, hopefully. Yeah, battery should have enough charge to fire it up, and then, you know, I'll leave it run or take it around the block a few times, see if it starts charging a battery. So anyway, good news. All right, so a quick update. I've been fighting with this thing for an hour, and I think I found what the problem is. Even putting the bracket back on to help, and hanging the belt on it to keep the front end up, it still wouldn't slide back into place. And upon closer examination, this one that little grommet is flush, and then this one is not. So I'm gonna pound that one flush, and then hopefully it'll slide on, because right now it won't fit in between this area. I mean, I can get everything else into place, but that just does not work. Yeah, so sure enough, once I pounded that little grommet into place and actually kind of pounded one part of it, tapered it a little bit, yeah, this thing just slid right in, put the bolt on the top, no big deal. And yeah, so I would just say, yeah, watch for that, because man, yeah, no comment. I wish I would have seen that initially, because I actually had to pull this thing in and out 3 times. So not fun. But I will say, after pulling it in and out 3 times, yeah, you can definitely get it out right here. You just have to maneuver it right. And like I said, when the plug is down, especially with that bracket off, yeah, you can do it. So, and the other little thing that I did, when I was thinking it was just difficult to put into place, was I've got the torque wrench on the tensioner right now, so that I could pull the belt down and put it where it needs to be. Well, at least that's what I thought. Alright, I guess I gotta move it a little more. Yeah, well, I'll get it on there. Anyway, so what I did there was, I thought, well, let me hang the belt on the front, and then I don't have to hold the front of the alternator up. So this is what I did. Put some twine. I put the torque wrench there on the tensioner, put some twine around it, wrapped it up here, tied it off on the inside of the fender, so it's holding it into place. So anyway, I'll throw the belt down on there, and then we'll get all this crap put back on. I've got that little bracket, little kind of banana bracket. I still gotta bolt that up, and there you go. I will say, well, if you don't have to go through what I just did, otherwise, I hope you've done your forearm workout, because trying to hold that thing up by your fingertips on both sides and wrench and put the bolt into place, yeah, not fun. And man, my forearms were burnt. Left forearm was burning, but it's all good now. So we'll get this wrapped up, and probably won't film, you know, putting the wheel back on, the fender liner and all that kind of stuff, but definitely hopefully the battery will be charged enough to fire it up. If not, I'll jump start it, and then we'll see if this thing starts charging up again. So I checked power steering, and it seemed fine. So unless it's just dripping a little bit, or I don't know, I'll keep an eye on that. So alrighty, there you go. Alright, well, belt is on, and just now tightening down that little banana clip bracket, because see, things still moving around, but that's for adjustment purposes. It should be. And yeah, I had to actually go back and check the video real quick when I had the old one sitting right here, just to see which way that was on there, because I actually had it flipped around. So, you know, it is what it is. I also have to get the little power reconnected, and then we should be good to go. Oh, and then gotta let the tensioner off, and then we'll probably next see if the truck's running, see if the battery and brake light are off, and maybe throw it on the little scope, make sure that it shows that the battery is charging and the alternator is doing its thing. Man, that took a lot longer than I thought, because one, I'm filming, so that already doubles the time, and then having to mess with that grommet not being pounded all the way in. Yeah, that took a lot longer than I expected. So oh well. All right, so I got the wheel back on, got the air box on, air tube, got this clamp down, just put the breather back on. It's just tightening this down, and once that's done, we can get this hooked back up to the battery. I was hoping this thing would be flashing green, but it's not. It's still charging. I mean, even with the added time, so we'll see. I'm hoping I don't have to jump it, but if I do, I do. So that'll be the next part. And if you're curious about doing this yourself, I mean, you know, that's pretty much it. I would suggest, yeah. But Mr. Hip Hop's still good. So yeah, and the shirt, oh man. So, all right, fingers crossed, right? All right, so we're gonna flip these pads over, get these things cleaned off nicely. Oh, shine, baby, shine. Yeah, that's a lot better. Look at that. Get this one. Alright, that's better. This one on there. That one on there. Don't want to touch it too much, right? Alright, everything is connected. I don't know if that was enough of a charge though to get this started, but we'll give it a shot. Interior dome lights are on. Looks better. Let's give it a shot. Come on, fingers crossed. Let's go, baby. Yeah, that's what we needed. All right, well, that was enough. Yeah, so it's all whacked out right now. Four-wheel drive's on, seatbelt, tire pressure, door, VDC. Yeah, we're just gonna have to let it figure everything out. 249,820 miles. So there you go. No battery and brake light though, so that's good. So all right, well, I'll let this sit and charge a little bit, and we'll see how it goes. So yay. All right, we had 12.7 or 12.6 before the car was started. It's 13.7 now, so yeah, the alternator is charging. That's a good sign. Let's get out of this and disconnect. So still got the VDC and slip light on, and after I had everything hooked up, the little graphic for the four-wheel and two-wheel drive, yeah, that wasn't even on the display, and that kind of happens. So yeah, I think on this one it's the like the yaw and steering sensor. You got to drive under 10 miles an hour for, like, I think it's 300 feet, or you just drive the car a couple times, a couple drive cycles, and it's fine. So we're gonna leave that going. Otherwise, car's been running. I've started it 3 or 4 times, so it's charging up. Battery's probably full, and there you go. So again, yeah, sorry, it was a lot longer than it should have been, but just because of that grommet. Oh man. All right, well, there you go. And yeah, lights look good. All right, get this put away, And back to jockeying the cars around.